as Sunday, April 21, and we are going to be working on some more interior stuff here. Trimmed up those flap handle covers yesterday, and by the way, there's no text instruction whatsoever for any of this stuff in here. All they give you is a picture of the parts, and that's all you get. So you got to kind of figure out how everything goes together. And I don't know if I messed this up or not. This meets up here fine on the top. And what happens is this, there's another strip that gets glued in underneath this that underlies here. Like, so you glue it to this side, and then it slides under here, and then you put screws in along here to screw it down, so that you can pull them screws out, and it's like a clamshell. This comes apart if you ever need to get in there for maintenance. But yeah, so we got this to where it's pretty much meeting up here, but when we get down here, there's a big old gap right here where it, take that off. We don't have our rubber trim glued on there yet, so it just kind of pulls off when we take this out. But where these Tinnermans are installed here, that little piece, it's like it's too wide, and it won't let this come together. And I didn't, when I trimmed this off, I trimmed it, there's cut lines, trim lines embossed in there, and so I assume that's where it needed to be trimmed off. Everything else seems to fit up right, but when we get back here, it's too wide. So my thinking is we might have to trim this here. Probably, I don't know if we notch it or just take that all the way off. Probably maybe just put a notch in there so it can slide over the top of that. But then that's going to leave a gap in here, between here and here. There's just going to be a little tiny bit of a gap. But we haven't figured out what we're going to do as far as covering on this yet, so that might take up that gap in there. Anyway, that's kind of the question I had for today, was how that gets put together there. But everything else seems to be fitting okay. I kind of had a little bit of a rough cut. Gonna have to clean this up from yesterday. I kind of had a few spots in here where I got a little bit wobbly, so we'll try and get that straightened up and see what we get. So here we go. Okay, getting this center strip piece shaped up for this inside here. They send this to you straight, and boy, it sure helps a lot. Just, it doesn't take much, just a little bit of heat on there, and bend this around. Used a piece of PVC to actually, I had too sharp of a bend in it initially, so I kind of had to heat it up again and straighten it out. So we straightened this out, and then took a piece of PVC and heated it up, and didn't push it down against the pipe, but just used it. We kind of rolled this across the pipe to give it a little bit more of a gentle curve on there. So we got that done, and we've got a line in here. You can't really see it. There's a faint little line in there where we're going to line this up and glue this in. And the concept being that this gets glued in on one side, and then the other side you put some screw holes in here, and there's just these little itty bitty sheet metal screws that then screw into this piece here, and that's what holds the two halves together on the top. So working away at that, we're gonna glue this in, clamp it in there, and hopefully it goes well. Things we're learning along the way is when you go to adjust the elevator, the control stick for the elevator, you're probably going to want to make sure that this is in here, at least sitting in here, so you can check the clearance. When we put this in, actually when I adjusted this elevator, left plenty of room up here for my hands, so it clears all these controls on full elevator down. And there's a little bit of a cushion in there too. But when we went to put this in and we pull this elevator all the way back, we're contacting this closeout here. And the problem is, normally I wouldn't really have a problem with that just touching, but there's a boot that goes over this stick. And as we pull this back, that boot's going to get bunched up in there, and it's not going to be able to go all the way back. That's as far back as it needs to go. So we are going to stop and adjust the stick. We're going to bring the stick a little bit forward a little more. Like I said, I've got probably an inch or so more that I could move this stick forward and still clear this knob with my hand. And the throttle is fine over on the far side. That stuff's fine there. So we'll take this out. We're going to loosen. What you have to do is we'll have to loosen the jam nuts. We'll have to take that nut out, or that nut and that bolt out there, and then unscrew these rod ends out just a little bit. These are in, I think it was about 14 turns. We had those in there, so we've got to adjust the stick forward. So we'll give that a try and see what we get. Alright, got this control stick adjusted for elevator, and what I ended up doing was I took out, so there's a jam nut. That jam nut, you had to loosen that and take this nut and bolt out of this part. And I pulled that rod end out, and you have to have a minimum of 10 turns on these rod ends. I pulled it out and I had done 16 turns on it, so I had plenty of room to adjust. So I actually ended up going in 11 turns, and that gave us clearance here on the closeout and gave us clearance on the knobs on the display. Also the knob on the GPS clears. So those were the couple gotchas that we've got on this. So we got to make sure we clear that knob and that one with the stick. Pretty decent day today. It was a little bit windy and it's kind of cloudy. It was in the mid 60s or so, but yeah, not bad at all. And the meadowlarks are singing. That's a sure sign of spring in Montana. Alright, we're done up here for tonight, and one thing that we did different on this is we're supposed to put different stiffener material in there, and we had this stuff, and that's left over from doing the stiffeners in the boot cowl, and we ended up being a little bit short. I think we had used some of that for something else, and now I don't remember. But we have a lot of stringer material left over, so we went ahead and switched over to that and trimmed it back and used that instead of the other stiffener. So I think it's just fine. It's just this cover for the controls that goes on the floor, and seems to be okay. So anyway, what else we did? Yeah, I talked about adjusting that control stick, and that one's fine. I just double checked that again, and that's okay there. But yeah, we did the flap lever today. So yeah, those are the things we got done, and yeah, not a whole lot to show for today, but we're making progress on the interior. So thanks for watching the videos and the comments and questions, and everybody have a great night. And that's it for now.